Hello, this is the second episode of Fret Search, a new series to this channel designed to improve your knowledge of which fingering to use when learning and playing pieces on the classical guitar. As you know, there are many ways of playing the same passage on the guitar. And some ways can make playing the piece much easier. Each week I'll be setting you two new tasks, one easy, one harder. It could be the right hand, left hand or both. Hopefully with time you'll pick up hints and tips that will help you improve your playing. Let's start by looking at the solutions from last week's tasks. So you have this accompaniment, dotted crotchet F and D, and underneath you've got this passage in the bass. Now if you play them together with that fingering that I just used, the third is going to have to come across and you're going to cut it from the accompaniment. So what I would like to hear is the accompaniment lasting the full length of the bar. Like that. So the only way I can think of achieving this is to bring the fourth, squeeze it back like this. And then you'd use two. And that way you can hear the accompaniment rings on for the full length. So another problem with this passage is stopping the A, the bass A, after you've played the F. Because you get that muddiness, which is a technique that I've spoken a lot about before. But just come back with the thumb after you've played the F and cut off the A. So that in context will sound like this. Okay, but what happens after that is also slightly tricky as well, because you're left here, but then you need the G sharp. Okay. Which is very awkward. So the way around this is to have a bar, a half bar across like that, and hammer onto the A. Now you could do this way, bar down now, or you could have the bar down right from the beginning. So there's an option for you there. I'm not going to say one is right and one is wrong, but after that you need a C sharp, and you've got the same problem. You've hammered onto the A and then it's got to jump to the C sharp. So what I suggest is another squeezing of the third backwards. Now listen to how much more legato that sounds. So it's a little harder to play, but you're doing it for musical reasons, to make the line more legato. Okay, so the whole passage once more. So now onto the slightly more complicated task that I set. Now I did give you fifth position, so you know you're in this vicinity. This is how it sounds. And you probably aim to get the piece to around this speed. So we know we're in 5th position, and you're going to find the B flat with the 4th finger here. So it's a very kind of discordant sound. And you're going to want the melody to come out in the bass because it's a study for the thumb, really. So you want the melody all on that 4th string. Now you could play the F here, but I'm recommending that you slide the 3rd down to that D minor shape there. So that whole passage so far. Now, this is where it gets a little complicated, because the natural instinct is you've got the chord already and just play it like that without any changes. But then you're faced with a difficult change to there. Okay, now you do have the 4th finger on here as an anchor. Okay, so you have to use the 4th finger here because you're using the 3rd here. So that was always going to happen. So that's your anchor finger, and open. So you're playing 2 with the A, and then it has to jump to B for the next chord. Well, I don't know about you, but I find that very awkward. Okay, so how are we going to avoid that? Well, once I've played the first A on the way up the arpeggio, I'm going to change it to a 3rd there, which frees up the 2nd finger for the B. So in slow motion. Once more. Okay, so that works well. But now we've got another problem. We've got the F here, which needs, I don't know if you can see that, to get to the G sharp with a bar. So that change is another awkward change. So you're going to have to do another similar thing to what we just did. And that is to change to a hinge bar. Now, I don't know if you know about hinge bars, but they hinge like this in order that the open D string can ring on, and you're prepared then, you see, for your bar on the 1st fret there. So change to 3rd and hinge bar, take off the 3rd here, and the chord is already there. Okay, so it is very complicated, but once you've got it, it's pretty playable, I would say, the whole passage. Okay, so that's this week's solution, and now here are the next 2 problems. So here's the easier of the 2 problems. You'll notice that I've given you the left hand fingerings. You know you're up in 5th position for most of this. What I want you to do is to find out the best right hand fingerings for this passage, and I want it to sound quite crisp like this. So that's the first task for next week. Now the second task, now this is the slightly harder of the 2 tasks. It's not as hard as the problem that we solved this week. It's more intermediate, this one, and this is how it sounds. And see what fingering you can come up with to make that bass line nice and smooth. So don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you next Friday.